I stated earlier that some of the things in this application you would use, and it really depends on your company as far as the different areas you have to use. For example, the calendar, the expenses, and the employee. Now look, we're going to cover the employee screen, but before we go in there, I'm going to explain that. If you're a one-person company, you really probably would not use the expense, not the expense, but the employee schedule. But if you are more than one person, this screen allows you to track the labor cost and also the individual employee as far as their services they're providing for you. Now this could be an outside service also if you're scheduling it, where you have part-time employees or somebody from another business that is assisting you and you're actually paying them. You could be tracking them as an employee and scheduling their time as required. This may be people that are part-time that come in maybe 1 day or 2 days a week, where you use their services like on a weekend where you have a lot of traffic of people coming in and you need additional employees. But because they're not 29 hours a week, these are 1099 type of people where you just provide them a 1099 at the end of the year. Now that's important to understand that, because if you're billing them out and you're using them as like an employee, you're tracking that employee and what times they've actually worked and then summarizing the total amount of hours so you can see how much at their labor rate they're needing to report on their 1099s. This is information that the employer needs to know, and also your accounting person needs to know as far as tracking those costs. These are not overhead costs, so to speak, because they're 1099 labor. This should be charged and paid. It does give you the opportunity also, though, if you're using these as part-time employees, to show the expense to your expense account, but you would do it from the employee records to summarize the amount of hours that this particular employee has worked with you over the period of a year and what the actual expense was. Now, this information has also got a listing view, so you can see the individual employee and the times that they're working. This screen actually can be used if you do a find for actually providing a schedule to an individual employee by putting the find in by the name and then a date range for the date range that they'll be working. And then you can either email that to them, and it shows them the time and the stop time that they should be working and the amount of hours that they should be working during that period. And there's actually work assignments if you want to actually show them a work assignment that they're going to be doing. And that could be for all the periods through the year. Notice that there's an employee ID here, so you can also do a find by employee ID to bring up that employee and see all their time in a summary. Okay, going back into the record itself, there is a summary as far as the portal is concerned, so you can do individual searches in the portal, and you can also this is by the individual fields, so you can bring up a report based on the employee themselves. This is similar to doing it in the list view. Okay, and you can also, if you have to, delete the hours on this particular client or person if you needed to. For example, if they did not show for that particular work period, you could drop out that record for that time. Maybe they got sick and didn't show as scheduled. So you can just go ahead and delete that record that they didn't actually get the payment for those services at that time. Now, in a custom app, this can be embellished quite a bit if you wanted to add where the employee comes in and actually clocks in and clocks out for lunch, clocks back in, and you can get their actual hours and running. If you needed a summary report or report, you could have that added to this, where you could add the summary dollars that are costing you. That is all things that are in the custom part of the customization of this app if you need it. Okay, just going back to the employee screen, we covered the employee schedule listing and also the portal that is viewable by clicking this button at the end of the row if you need to delete a record. In this particular case, here's a record where somebody just backed it out and you need to add it back in or delete that record so that it's not required in the system. So you just come over here, delete it, and then go back into the record, and you'll notice that it is gone. So that's how easy it is to do this. There's also a next and previous where you can jump between the employees by clicking on the arrows back and forth. Or you can add a new employee because this is a parent record for this particular file. By adding it, you would put in, it automatically adds the employee ID You would add the name, the kind of services that this person provides, and their hourly rate that you're going to be paying them. If you have any questions, you can always contact me as usual. This concludes all the videos for this application. Thank you.